Hello and welcome to episode, are we in 20 now, I think?
No, 19.
19?
19.
Episode 19 of the Can-As podcast. As per usual, it's Victor here and Celso.
Hello.
This week, we'll be going over some tennis, some more tennis news on the men's side at least, regarding Canadian tennis. Then we'll do soccer as well. We got like super brief Olympics. Like we're going to do a full in-depth recap, not this upcoming midweek episode, but the next midweek episode, just because we want to be able to provide more of an in-depth one. And then like the Paralympics should be starting by then, so we can probably mention like Canada's favorite Paralympians or something. Like
We could do that, yeah.
Yeah. Then we'll talk about like baseball, nothing. Football's done now, unfortunately. There's some golf, but I don't think there's a Canadian
Going
playing.
back to football, I did say the Rams were going to win.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. I'm happy for either team.
Oh, yeah.
It's like either team I wanted to win, man. Like Matthew Stafford or Joe Burrow. Did you see how Joe Burrow introduced himself to the other team's defense in the middle of the game?
Yeah,
He's like,
I did.
"Hey, Vaughn, Joe here. Nice to meet you, man. Like you were my hero. Like you're an idol of mine." Like,
Yeah, I did see that video.
yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was pretty funny.
How do you not want the kid to win now, right? Anyways, I digress. We'll finish with hockey.
Oh, yeah.
So not too much. So it should be a little bit of a shorter episode this week, but let's start with tennis now. Actually, we always start with soccer. Let's start with tennis right now. Denis Shapovalov and Felix Auger-Aliassime were again in a tournament this week. They were in different tournaments though.
Okay.
Dennis decided to lose in his second match. I think it's the third round or whatever it is, and because he gets by as a number one seed. The number one seed, Denis Shapovalov, lost in, I guess, the third round of the tournament. He has not been doing very well recently. It's been since the Australian Open, he had an okay tournament there, but yeah, no, ever since then it's just like first round exit tournament prior, second round exit now. Like he's not living up to his top 15 standing in the world right now. It's quite frustrating, to be honest with you. But on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, Felix Auger-Aliassime made it yet to another final. And it's not like it's like an ATP 1000 master event or anything. It's like, it's a smaller tournament, the Marseille Open in France. And it was a really close fight. You were telling me at the end. Yeah. Hey, like you saw the score. What was 7-5, 7-6 for Andrei Rublev?
7-6, yep.
Rublev is, I believe, the fifth ranked player in the world. Unbelievable tennis player. And that's actually it was a rematch of last week's semifinal. They played each other in the semis last week, sorry. Yeah, I mean, Rublev got him back, whatever. Not the end of the world. But Felix is doing quite well. I don't think he gains any ranking points because I think this was similar to what he had last year. It would have been nice to see him win back-to-back trophies for his first and second ever career titles. That would have been really cool to see.
Cool. So for like point wise, they, depending on how they did the year prior, do they get points or not?
Yeah, so like you keep your points from last year, and then like let's say hypothetically you win the Australian Open last year, you still have 2,000 points from the Australian Open from last year. After the Australian Open's done, your 2,000 points will change to whatever happened to this year's results. So hypothetically, if you lose in the first round, you'll pretty much lose all 2,000 of your points, and you go down 2,000 points in the overall world rankings.
Oh, so I guess he gained points, but he didn't gain that many points?
Yeah, he didn't gain net points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they do look at the last year's results too. So, yeah, I'm looking at this live ATP ranking thing right now, and Felix, yeah, he ended up losing 135 points compared to last year just because of the tournament that he was in. It was just different. He had a better result last year. So, I mean, losing in the final is tough to lose points in, but I think he played in a more difficult tournament last year, or a tournament with more points allowed. There was a Grand Slam last year at this time. That's what it was. There was a Grand Slam last year at this time, for whatever reason. Maybe the Australian Open was delayed a little bit or something. I'm not entirely sure. But, or a bigger tournament was on right now. Because like I'm looking at the rankings, and Djokovic lost 2,000 points. And the only way you can do that is by winning a Grand Slam, and then the following year not doing it. So with COVID, the numbers are different because for 1 year they didn't take away points at all because like COVID didn't allow people to go places. So like. I think they're starting to like lower and ease down the point system, so everybody's going to start losing a bunch of points right now. But Felix is in 9th in the world at the moment. Not bad actually.
That's good.
It's his career high. Shapo has gone down to 14th. he was most recently in 12th, but with these, yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, man. With these just awful results recently, it's been tough for him. But and apart from them, like, man, there's no Canadian else in the top 100. Like, Milos is way down. I don't even know if he's ever going to play again, to be completely honest with you. I would question if Milos Raonic ever plays again, because he's truthfully just not doing well at all. He is down to 163rd in the world.
Oof.
Because he hasn't played in God knows how long. Just brutal. But, and then again, the women, man, like, there's nothing, like, there's no news coming out of the women. Like, Bianca seems to still be injured, and then Layla, there's nothing coming out of there right now. So, which is sad, because there were two, the one that won the actual major, and then the other one that made it to a final. Like, they're the two most promising stars for Canada, and then they're not out there right now. So I'm hoping that they find a way to get back into form and everything. And like
right now, it looks like Felix is the one that's gonna lift up Canada's like tennis world kind of thing.
Yeah. Felix is definitely the one that's going to be lifting it all up for Canada for sure. Yeah. Raising the intensity levels. Yes. But it's been a decent year so far for Canadian tennis. Like winning the ATP Cup there at the beginning of the year. And then we made it pretty far. We went to the semifinals. The Australian Open was Felix, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he lost to Nadal. Yeah.
It was Shapo lost to Nadal in the quarters. Felix lost to Medvedev in the semis, I think. Or was it the quarters as well?
Was it? I thought.
I'm positive it was, because it was lefty on lefty. It was Nadal and Shapo. I'm more than a billion percent positive.
I thought it was Felix with Nadal.
No, it was Felix with Medvedev. Because remember we did the recap saying like he lost to Medvedev in the ATP Cup and this is his chance for redemption. And he got absolutely manhandled in the ATP Cup. It wasn't a manhandling in the because they both made it to 5 sets. So yeah. Anyways, that's really it for tennis, I think, though. Like, not much to talk about. Like, there's the Dubai Open is coming up this week. I think it's not a Masters event, I think, so it should be something like a 500 points. But a lot of the bigger names in the world are in there, so maybe it is the Masters. Maybe it's a new Masters event that I don't know of. So I wouldn't put it past it, or I wouldn't put that past. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, so moving on to golf, I guess. We have, like, I'm looking at this tournament right now. From everywhere I see, it doesn't seem like there's a single Canadian playing in it. Mackenzie Hughes, Corey Connors, Adam Hadwin, Taylor Pendrith, or whatever his name is. Like, none of them are in it right now. It's a Genesis Invitational. It's a pretty decent tournament. But I'm looking at the live updated FedEx Cup standings right now. We only have one Canadian in the top 20, and then another one in the top 100, I want to say. Which is fine. Like, the top 120 make it to the last few tournaments of the year. And there's still a lot of golf to be played. But I'm interested to see, like, what the best result for a Canadian is going to be this year. Because we've had some guys in the top 10. Like, every tournament that the Canadians featured, they've been in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. Or the majority of them. I think there's only one that was missed. But we got some good golfers in Canada. None of them, like, no DeChambeau that, like, just drive the ball 1 billion yards, or like Colin Morikawa with quite possibly the best iron mid game in the entire tour. I think our guys are just overall good. You have to be great to be on there. So just overall great golf players, but they don't have one specific thing that makes them
they're like
better than the rest.
All trades kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd say
everything, but not great with something.
Yeah, they're pretty good overall players, but that puts them like average player on tour. So I don't think there's nothing that any one of them have that's like outstanding that makes them the best on tour, whatever it is that they do. But I'll be interested to see what ends up happening with like the Canadians.
I guess as long as you're like a solid player, like, then you should be fine.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. So
because like Mackenzie Hughes is 18th, I think. So
18th, yeah, and then Corey Connors
all around. Then
Corey Connors is the best Canadian though, in my opinion. He's just more consistent, especially last year. Oh my God, that guy was just crushing it all the time. There was like in two majors, he was in the top 5 on the last day, like a legitimate chance at actually winning it. But which was interesting. So this year he started off slow, but is finishing off really strong. So like he started like after round 2, he was like top 30, and then round 3 he shot up to like tie for 5th or something, like just crushing it, which is the complete opposite of what he was doing last year. Like last year, he was leading a major after 36 holes, if I'm not mistaken, and then he finished like 10th or 15th because he just completely just fell off a cliff. So, hopefully, he finds his form, last year's first half form, and this year's second half form, and then he'll be able to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just the tour is so even right now. It's just the parity in amongst the entire PGA Tour is just insane. Like you need to be on your game for the entire weekend to win, and that's so evident because you have so much talent on that tour. But if Connors, Hughes, any one of them have a legitimate full weekend where they're playing their best golf, yeah, they should be able to win. It's not a league that has like a bunch of like one Tiger Woods who's dominating it for so long, right? But anyways, that's enough about golf because we don't actually have any Canadian golfers playing for us this week. The NBA, they're heading into the All-Star break. Actually, they're already in the All-Star break. Yeah. Sorry. And the Raptors have been doing quite well, man. They lost 2 in a row against some good teams earlier this week, but then they've picked it back up again. They did nothing during the trade deadline, as we discussed last week, which was expected, honestly. But they'll be an interesting team. Like the East is not as good as I thought it would be, and they have I don't think they're going to win it, but I think they have a chance to going and competing, and then getting these young players the experience that they need. It was interesting. Draymond Green and Freddie Van Vliet. So Draymond Green has a podcast that he holds every Thursday, I think. Freddie Van Vliet was on it this last week, and they talked about the 2019 NBA championship. And Draymond's always like, hey, man, like if we had Durant, we would have won. And he's like, you know what, Fred? He's like, you know what, man? You guys are a much better team with Durant. I don't question that at all. Anybody is. But I feel we had a much better team than you guys without Kevin. And he's like, okay, yeah, no, that's a fair assessment. And then it was just a really cool interview, man. Like it's all over YouTube, I think. So maybe I'll share the link in the description or something. But
yeah, I guess I'll check it out because I haven't seen it yet.
It was a pretty cool interview. It was a very honest one. I really liked that because he's talking like Freddie Van Vliet was an undrafted player, that he was like one of the greatest college players of all time that still went undrafted somehow, leading his team to the NCAA like Final Four and like all that kind of stuff. Like consistent. Like I don't know how he wasn't drafted. Like good on Masai Ujiri for catching that and his staff. It's not just Masai, right? But yeah, it'll be. The Raptors are going to be a very compelling case for the next few years. I think they're going to be a very strong, like mid-caliber team, like one of the better mid-caliber teams. But that they won't be elite until they get a legitimate superstar on that team, which will be interesting to see because like James Harden is becoming available during the offseason, but I don't think anybody wants to touch that. Like he's just a cancer in the room. Like, oh my God.
I think he's happy in Philly anyway, so.
He will be for the first like 4 months, and then right after that he'll be like, you know how kids get bored of their toys real quick? That's freaking James Harden with his NBA team, man. But, yeah, I mean that's all really about the NBA. I don't think there's not too much going on. Like Wiggins is still doing really well out there in Golden State. They're still hanging in there. They're no longer. I don't think they're the favorites to win it anymore. I think the favorites are going to have to be Phoenix. They're just crushing it right now. And we have a lot of Canadians in the league, man. Like we have definitely double digits. So, but not a lot of them are on good teams, unfortunately. And I think the biggest thing is when Jamal Murray comes back to Denver in a month or two, that will be probably the biggest news that we'll be able to share about Canadians in the NBA, because that's going to be huge. The next Olympics or the next like FIBA World Qualifiers, like the World Cup of basketball, I guess, Canada should be able to put up a competitive team. You have RJ Barrett, you have I was almost going to say Felix Auger-Aliassime team. You have RJ Barrett, you have Jamal Murray, like that's your backcourt right there, real good backcourt. Then you have like the Garius Alexander from OKC. You got a couple of big guys, like I think one of them plays for the Pelicans. You got a big Kelly Olynyk. I don't know if he's still playing in the league or not, but he's still good. Chris Boucher from the Raptors can play center too. Like we're not going to be a dominating the world kind of team, but I think we'd still be like,
we'd have a good showing.
I think we should at least be able to make it to the quarterfinals. Like I don't think there's 8 countries that are better than us at basketball right now. Can we give Freddie Van Vliet a Canadian passport just so he can represent us too, or Siakam maybe even? But we'll see.
I'd go for Van Vliet if
I'd rather Van
Vliet. An
Vliet.
honorary like Canadian citizenship.
I want to touch base on that in a second, actually, because we're moving on to soccer now.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ike Ugbo, if you guys remember, he recently changed his nationality to Canadian, has since represented Canada on the international level, so he's now officially, he's Canadian for real now. He signed a loan deal to go over to Troyes of the French league. They wanted him to help avoid relegation, and he scored a goal today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but they're losing 2-1 at the moment of at this current moment. They are losing 2-1. So unfortunate, but that being said, Ike Ugbo is still doing some good stuff. Yeah, he'll be crucial to helping them completely avoid relegation. To be completely honest with you, like Troyes is not known to be a very good team. Yeah, I mean it's not 2-1 anymore. It's 4-1. Yeah. So
it's basically over.
Yeah, it's over. It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
But he scored.
It's over.
He scored, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good. At least individually they're doing. He's getting the results that he wants and everything. But yeah, I would love for him to move to an actual better team, but until he starts producing more, like similar, Jonathan David's trajectory is similar to what Ike Ugbo is going through right now. It's just that Jonathan David did it at a little bit of a younger age, because I think Jonathan David's just I think in his prime in a few years, he will be one of the top 10 strikers in the world, like just legitimate number 9 strikers in the world. I'm not gonna talk about like the Messi and the Neymars aren't in there, but like the Mbappes, Lewandowskis, those guys will be in there. The Erling Haaland, those guys will be in there, right? But I definitely feel that Jonathan David will be a top 10 striker in this world for sure. Alphonso Davies for a long time is going to be one of the best fullbacks / wingers in the world. Tajon Buchanan, I believe, has the potential to be in like the top 20. I don't think he's going to be like one of the best players in the world, but he has the potential of being a very, very good player. Probably top 20 in his position in the world, which is still unbelievable. But I think when we look at the rankings for the top 100 football players in the world next year, we're definitely going to see 2. We might be able to see 3. I think Buchanan might be able to squeak in the top 100 footballers in the world.
But definitely Davies.
There's no question Davies and David. Davies is probably going to be in the top 10. David might be in the top 20 to 30. They're that good. Like I think they've shown that during the World Cup qualifiers. They're good. Like and David can create something out of nothing more than anyone else. Like he's unbelievable, that talent on that guy. So it's nice that we have such good talent for Canadian soccer. The women are playing in that one. There's a big tournament happening between like the England, U.S., Sweden. I want to say in Canada. I completely forget what it's called. But Christine Sinclair isn't at this tournament. Her mom just recently passed away, from what I hear, so she's not there. But Jessie Fleming is captaining the team. So even more reason for her to be my favorite Canadian women's player at the moment. Janine Becky had an unreal goal against England, though. They played, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I mean, what are you looking at the tournament now? Do you know what it's called?
I'm trying to find it, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it's like an invitational tournament that they have every year typically. Canada, they only play top opposition on there too, which I'm really happy about. It's not like we're playing like the Mexicos or like the Costa Ricas all the time, because that tournament's actually coming up. There's the World Cup qualifiers coming up between it's going to be Canada, US obviously as the top 2 seeds, and then you have like the Mexico, Costa Rica, Trinidad and Tobago, and all that kind of stuff. Like they play between themselves right now, and then the top 6 of them, like the 6 group winners of those 6 groups. And each group has 4 teams. The 6 group winners move on to the final. It's kind of like the octagonal here for the men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, Canada, if you make it to the finals, you're automatically in the World Cup. What is it? I think it's, if you make it to the finals, you're automatically in. And then the semifinalists go and play an international playoff, I think. Next week, I'll confirm. And then, so they play against Germany next, actually. So that will be an interesting game to watch for sure. Germany's a very good team.
It's the Arnold Clark Cup.
Arnold Clark Cup. Yeah.
I knew it was Clark in the name, but I didn't know what the first name was.
Yeah, their last game was Thursday the 17th. and then they play against Germany. I guess today, Sunday the 20th, they're playing against Germany, so it'll be interesting to see. And then next is on the 23rd against Spain. Canada's women's under 20 team is playing against the national teams of other countries. El Salvador and Trinidad and Tobago, our under 20s are playing against their top teams.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, that's how good Canada is in soccer right now. Isn't that incredible? Oh my god. I'm not used to that yet.
It's going to get better from
It's
there.
only getting better from there. Yeah. Anyway, that's all about soccer. I think there's not much news. Like Davies is still out, but they're saying he's about 1 to 2 weeks until they recheck for his myocarditis. But they think it's looking really good right now, so he's doing better. I'm glad that his so far, knocking on wood as we speak, affecting him a little less than other people. Because if you remember, man, like in hockey, moving on to hockey, I guess too, it's like Archibald was out. His career, what's his face? Stalock, I think. His career could have been over, but he's back.
Now, yeah,
he's in the AHL, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So that'll be that's really nice, man. I'm so happy for that. Now so now we're in hockey officially, the NHL. What do you think? Who should be the emergency call up for the Oilers? Should it be Stalock or Skinner?
Skinner.
There's no question that Skinner's a better goalie, and this is not what I'm arguing. I'm not arguing that Skinner's a better goalie. My argument is Skinner is our future net. It's very clear, very evident. He's probably been our best goalie this year. He's in over 900 save percentage, which is he's been playing fantastic. But this is probably his last year of ever playing in the AHL. Do you not want to give him every single possible game opportunity to play? The AHL is still a decent enough league that you're getting
You get the opportunity to play in the AHL.
Just give him an opportunity to play every game. If he's going to come up here and just be a backup, I'd rather it be Stalock. If he's going to come up here and be the starter.
And from rumors that we're still looking for a goalie, yeah, I'd probably keep Skinner down there just to keep playing amazing, and then I guess next year we'll see.
Yeah, because you want to
stay in the lineup. Which he probably will, but
yeah, you want to build that confidence up, and you want to get him game experience, get him to see things that he's never seen before in game. So, and I'm interested that Bakersfield team, great team with Woodcroft, but now it's like a different coaching unit. So I'm really hoping that they do everything they can to really find the best youth coach for them, or development coach. So we can continue developing, because Woodcroft did an exceptional job down there bringing us a bunch of young players, which now, coincidentally, he's still bringing us more young players, but now on the NHL level. So since the moment of recording, one of our sellers made a trade, and I think we called it, Toffoli was leaving.
Yeah, we did call it.
Yeah, we didn't know where it was going to be, but that's a really good return for Toffoli. If you look at, I think it was Daniel that was telling me, actually, he's like, yeah, if you look at all the other returns from it from last year and everything, Calgary overpaid. Arvidsson was nowhere near that, and I think Arvidsson is a fair comparable to Toffoli. I think Toffoli's a little bit better, but giving up a first, a third, a prospect, and Tyler Pitlick.
I think it was a second and a third.
Regardless, 2 picks.
Yeah, 2 picks. Tyler Pitlick and another guy.
Yeah. That's a lot, man. Or second and a fifth, I think is actually what it was. Something like that.
Oh, it was second and a third for another team that traded not too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, let me
you pull it up and then you can interrupt here and let us know what it is. But still, Toffoli's a decent player. He's slotting into Calgary's third line. Calgary's a good team, man. That defense and goalies are good, but until similar to Toronto, I guess, they've just not shown up in the playoffs at all, scoring no goals and giving up too many opportunities. They're not an offensive threat in the playoffs right now, and they haven't upgraded their offense well enough for me to trust that they'll be able to do it in the playoffs. Right? They're a big, strong, physical team, which is exactly what playoff hockey is. But if they can't score, you're not going to win. They're good at keeping the puck out of their net.
But they have to score.
And it's they're one elite superstar play away from being down 1-0 in a game in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And every team in this that they're going to face in the playoffs has one. Edmonton has 2. Vegas has, I would argue, 2. Especially now 1 in Eichel.
Yeah. And
then I think between Pacioretty and Stone, they can make really some real good magic work. You know what I mean?
So it was Toffoli for Tyler Pitlick, Emil Heineman, a conditional first and a conditional fifth.
Yeah. So, and the condition is, I think it's top 10 protected.
Yep.
I think so. Yeah, that's a lot to give up, man. A first round pick is huge. That screws everybody else over for this year because Toffoli is nowhere near the best player available right now.
Oh, for trade acquisitions and stuff for this year, yeah, no,
like nowhere near.
No.
Good on that GM though. Oh my god, dude, that was a big return for him. I'm interested to see what Sherratt goes for. I don't think you can compare Sherratt and Toffoli because they're different positions, different style players, and everything.
And Sherratt's injured too, so it might reduce his value.
Yeah, I think Sherratt realistically goes for like a mid-round pick and a mid-prospect because he's a UFA at the end of this year. So Toffoli, I think, had some years left in him. So I think that's like why he was a little bit more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But that might be what Gallagher gets you or Petrie gets you actually too. Petrie's probably going to get you a first prospect, current player, and a mid-round pick. Yeah.
But he's so expensive.
Yeah,
and
6
lots
plus.
Of teams, lots of buyers don't have that much money.
Yeah, well, if they hold back salaries for a bit, Montreal's going. I did it again. Why do I always call them Vancouver? Every single time it's Vancouver, Montreal. I always confuse them for whatever reason. We should have
a little jar of every time you
Seriously, it's just embarrassing. I literally put a penny in there, and we'll be like, we'll have like $20 in there by the end of every episode. Easy. Oh, it's brutal. Montreal.
There we go.
Is going into a full rebuild, right?
Yeah.
I think within 3 years they hope to be competitive, and within 3 years that's when Petrie's contract goes out. So hold some salary back and just get a ton more picks. If they retain half of Petrie's salary, that is easily a first and a second that they should be getting back, just because they're retaining 3-point-something million for 3 years. At least that's how I would value that. At least okay, we're screwing ourselves over for the next 3 years. What are you gonna do? Okay, I need picks. I need picks to compensate because I need players to replace this $3 million that I'm not going to be able to use here at all.
Yeah, right now I'm seeing for this year's draft, they have Calgary's first round, Carolina's first round, their own second round, their own third round, Anaheim and Carolina's third round, Tampa Bay's fourth round.
A lot of picks then. Where do their first round pick go to?
I think it's.
It
was for Christian Dvorak. It was a conditional first round pick, and the conditions were
top 10 protected.
To the better of Montreal or Carolina's 2022 first round pick, but if either or both are top 10 picks, then Montreal will instead transfer to Arizona, the worst of the Montreal and Carolina first round pick.
Okay, so Carolina will be
Montreal's pick.
Yeah, so Montreal's they're going to have their own and Calgary's pick, and then Carolina is going.
So I guess Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina, because they're going to have the first overall pick. Could you imagine if they didn't put that protection on that? Oh. Shane Wright would not be going.
Shane Wright would be a Coyote probably.
Yeah, God, man, that is such a dumpster fire of a team right now.
They have 1, 2, 3 picks in the first round.
Arizona. Yeah. Can we talk about that team right now? They're switched to the 5,000 seat stadium.
They're not Canadian, but yes, we can talk about it.
Yeah. Super quick. No. It has Canadian implications. Why the heck are they not in freaking Quebec right now? What? Batman is so invested on that team, and he just is so stubborn and doesn't want it to not work.
I would say even Saskatoon can have
Saskatoon would have a bigger fan base than Arizona as a state. Completely agree.
Oh, definitely.
That 5,000, that's not going to sell out. How bad of a look does it look to the NHL when they're trying to make their league relevant?
It has to sell out, or else
they're not going to. They're not going to. You know how many tickets they sell in the actual stadium? That's less than 5,000. It's an actual disgrace to the game. How is Arizona still in Arizona? I don't get it. The players have to be furious over this. You know how much money they're losing? By losing 13,000 tickets a game for every one of their home games? That's, oh my God, dude. That's $1 million a game minimum that they're losing. So they're losing $40 million. That $40 million in revenue that they're losing, that's $20 million towards the cap that they'll be able to use. That's just one team, right? So you disperse that into everyone. But $20 million between 32 teams. That's like what, $600,000, but that's an extra $600,000 they could be using towards the cap. Like, it's so infuriating. I don't understand his. You know the definition of insanity.
Yep.
You do the same thing over again, and expect different results.
Yep.
Bettman is not only, he's insane. He's insane. How does Arizona work? It hasn't worked ever. Atlanta was better, man. Atlanta. If you don't want to move it to Canadian market, fine, dude. I don't care. Nobody in this country likes you anyways. Like, even Houston,
Atlanta.
There's just so many more teams that it's a great vacation destination for people to go there watch the hockey.
Why aren't they going to Coyotes game?
No one is going to the Coyotes games. The fact that they're a garbage team doesn't help. And they have no superstars there right now. Like, that doesn't help. But, like, even then, like, nobody wants to go to Phoenix, Arizona. That's where their game is, okay? Nobody wants to go to that damn town. Like, I don't know. I'll never get Batman, man. I hope he retires soon. Other than that, there's no way he gets fired. He made the league too much money. But this is the domino he's going to fall on. I think
the dumbest hill he's, like, fighting on right now.
There's three cities that are going to be significantly better. I wish Winnipeg's arena was bigger. That would be huge. Like, Winnipeg needs to get a bigger arena for sure. I mean, it's a brand new arena, but it only seats like 15,000. You got to have 18.
Way better than 5.
Yeah, but still though, it's like he's gonna make. Bettman probably is using that point. Like, well, Winnipeg's only 15,000.
As long as they like sell out, that should be
15.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they consistently get sellouts. Yeah. But like, even then, if they had like a $20,000 stadium, they probably would be able to sell that one out too, right? But it's just so infuriating, man. Like, he's such an idiot. I genuinely don't get it. He's done a lot for TV deals and whatnot, but like the All-Star game is a huge waste of time. Nobody actually cares about that. Like, I think it's a way of like bringing in like newer fans maybe, but like I don't know, man. Like, I asked 10 different people. We're at the restaurant that I work at, and then it's like, All-Star game's on the TV. I'm like, hey, can we change the channel, please? I'm like, yeah, dude, don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll get rid of this All-Star game for you. Yeah, it's just a waste of time. I'm like, yeah, you're a hockey fan? He's like, yeah, but not an All-Star game fan. I'm like, yeah, same, buddy. It's same.
It's kind of like, going back to something that I like, wrestling. It's kind of like WWE catering to like the casual fans. So like NHL, like Bettman is trying to get lots of younger fans in. Whereas, like, AEW is going for more, like, the hardcore fans. So, like, you and me for, like, we want something meaningful for, like, the game. Like, baseball is doing it for, like, home field advantage, I think, in the World Series or something. It's just...
Yeah, I think they changed the home field advantage rules.
As long as they, like, make it more meaningful or make it more...
Yeah,
you know what? Go back to like World versus North America or something like back in the 2000s.
That would be cool.
That would be a lot of fun.
That would be
There's like lots of really
cool.
good young players in Europe, like let's say Moritz Seider, like he's amazing.
Yeah. Lucas Raymond too. That's a really or like
Dry
a young
Side
stars against like sophomore rookies battle one year. Like, there's so much that they can do with it.
Or like under like 25 or no, that'd be kind of weird. Under 25 or over.
Under 25 versus over 25. You have one team with like freaking
no under 25 versus. I guess that wouldn't be fair for like 25 and between 25 and 29. I was gonna say under 25 and over 30, but. Oh. But something
they can do something. You know what they should do? You know what's going to bring more people to like this league is calling the damn rule book. No, I'm serious. If you start calling the actual damn rule book, there's going to be so much more scoring. There's going to be so much more room on the ice for people to just go, like the McDavids, Draisaitls, Matthews, Marners, the Kucherovs when he's not injured, the Marchands, the Pasternaks, the McKinnons. There's just going to be so much more room for them to show their talent That's how you build a league. You showcase your players.
They don't even showcase their best player.
Yep.
Like they don't even showcase McDavid.
You know what? Remember the U.S. commercial this last year? Like, oh, come join us to watch hockey on TNT, where we have Connor McDavid playing in the Edmonton Oilers, and it was a freaking picture of Andrew Ferris.
Yeah.
They don't do anything to market them. They're never gonna like. Batman needs to go. I think the NHL needs a new perspective on how to market the game, because honestly, calling the rule book is probably the biggest and easiest way of doing it, because you have actual fans who have stopped watching because of the rule book. Oh, yeah. That, and like, don't be charging $20 for a beer. Like, you want the less you charge, the more you're actually going to make in the end, because people are going to want to keep on buying beer. And you're just,
and a $20 burger at Rogers Place.
Seriously though, like, just put a cap on like how much you can charge in those concessions. Like, there's ways that you can make money. Like, I don't know, like your social media, releasing a weekly episode on like get to know this player, or like behind the scenes videos of like, hell, the Formula One Drive to Survive. Have a Netflix documentary on each team. Like, oh, you follow a team a week.
Not just Toronto.
Well, not just Toronto, but that All or Nothing, that was good, man. You ended up watching it? Yeah, that was really good, hey? That put a lot of perspective into it, and I don't like Toronto fans much, but that team is a very good team, and Dubas is a very smart GM, which is a perfect segue. Thank you so much for that.
You are welcome.
The Toronto Maple Leafs made a big trade this week.
They did.
Zingle and Luka Loparabro something, like a defender.
I'll search it up for you.
Thank you. But they didn't give up much. They gave away Nick Ritchie and a pick or two, I think. But no, it's their choice. It's Arizona's choice of either a third this year or a second in 2025. I want to say that's the trade.
I will look it up for you.
So
it is Ryan Dzingel and
it's Ilya something, right?
Ilya Lyubushkin for Nick Ritchie and a conditional third or second round pick.
Yeah, second in 2025 or third this year, I think.
Yeah. No, next year. Third next year. Third next year or fifth round the year after.
Listen,
or 2 years after.
Like, Kyle Dubas is a genuine genius. Like, that's not like, Ryan Dzingel is like the perfect forward that they're gonna want on that team.
I was gonna say Ryan Dzingel, like, way better than Nick Ritchie, and he's definitely like.
And how did you upgrade it that much? And then that defender is a solid like bottom pairing or seventh defenseman, if I'm not mistaken, isn't he? Like, good on him, man. Good on Dubas getting something in. I still think that they need, and we'll talk about this more in the midweek episode. I still think that they need more veterans in there, because in order to get over the first round hump, I think they need the leadership of people who've gone over that first round hump consistently.
It's kind of hard when their cap space is like negative 400,000.
Okay, but they were able to make this trade. You know what I mean? Like, they can. Yeah. I think they'll be able to find it. You know who's the ideal trade candidate for them? It's LA. And if they can get Dustin Brown there somehow...
I was gonna. Once you said LA, I was like, Dustin Brown probably.
If they can get Dustin Brown there somehow, be their third line winger, put up good, like, be on their penalty kill, and just, that guy, he won 2 cups, you need that leadership, you know what I mean? Like, or where's Hjalmarsson playing? He didn't retire yet, did he?
I don't think so.
But Hjalmarsson, he has experience with 3 cups, or we have Keith, so we have that experience here, thankfully. But that's what Toronto needs. But we'll talk. You'll look it up later, and then we'll be able to, because we're going to talk about the buyers.
Did you see the 3 stars yesterday for the Oilers game?
Yeah, Duncan Keith with the 2nd star with 36 saves.
Yeah,
good for you, man. Good. I'm pretty impressed that he was able to make 36 saves from the press box. Good for him, man.
Right?
Good for him. God. And Sportsnet too. That was just silly on their part.
Oh, I don't know. I don't mind. I saw so many tweets about like them just saying.
Sportsnet. I like Jack Michaels. Freaking love the guy. Unreal commentating. I like
him. I like him more when he was on radio though.
Yeah, but again, if you remember his first year in radio, he was terrible. He wasn't doing the calls right. Yeah. But he got used. The second year, oh my god, did he ever get? Because like
just get better
in TV. You don't have to be as descriptive, right? You just have to call the game, and like it's very different on TV than radio, and he's gonna get used to it by the end of next year.
Right.
And then I love Louis DeBrusque's like good comments on the side. I love the panel between Principe and McTavish. Love that.
I was gonna say like McTavish just brings like more character into
he brings such good insight. He's such a smart hockey mind, man. He led us to the Cup final in 06. Like there's no question that he was the integral part in that. Bob Stauffer is a punchable face. I don't want to see him on TV or even hear him on the radio. He's just so biased, man. So biased. I can't stand the guy.
If he's a homer.
It's so clear he's an Oilers fan. I just can't
like,
stand it, man.
Be unbiased.
Yeah. Edmonton's the best team in the league. Like, hate to break it to you, we were the worst team in the league for 2 straight weeks, for a full month actually. So you're an idiot. Oh, just anyways. And then Mark Spector, can't stand the guy. His reporting has just gone downhill. It was good for a while. I'm talking about just Sportsnet though.
Oh, so just Sportsnet.
Yeah. But Jim Matheson too. That's just, it's tough. The reason players don't want to play in Edmonton is because of the media and the fans, man.
More
it
media
sucks.
than fans.
I'm going to argue 50-50 right now.
Ask stupid questions.
They ask very stupid questions. It's like, when we start winning, they're nicer.
Ask their team stupid questions, but it's like us being Oilers fans, we can whenever I hear Jim Matheson ask some of his questions or Spector ask some of his questions, I cringe. It's like, why would you ask that? I don't get it. Mm-hmm. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, I agree. I'm 100% with you there, brother. Just awful. Just awful. Anyways,
we should try
to get in there and just ask a question.
We should start from the bottom, make our way up, and then we can ask not as stupid questions. Somehow we'll figure out a way. And we'll have our own,
how I would start like, hey Connor, thank you for taking my question here. How was your day, man? I'm interested in you as a person.
Feeling?
How was your day today?
How are you feeling?
Thank you. I'm good today, thank you, Victor. I'm like good, man. Like, what do you think? Okay, actually, let's think about it. What would one question that you would want to, if you're in the media scrum, what's one question that you would want to ask?
Well, there needs to be context because I couldn't ask.
After last night's game, like what was like the first question that you would ask McDavid?
That is a good question.
Okay, I think this will be mine. Like, Connor, great game today, 4-2 win. You had 3 points. What do you think is the biggest contributing? Like, I'm noticing a much more confident group amongst everyone, and maybe you guys had it the whole time. But what's the difference right now? What's running in the group right now? What's working the best? See, compliment to them. And not being like, hey, Connor, not release articles that Connor and Leon are the problem of this team and they should be leaving because, like, we don't need them anymore. Frickin' Mark Spector, you stupid clown. He realizes that if we don't have Connor or Leon, like, we're dead last in this league, right? It's not even close.
Oh, yeah.
It's bad.
Like, Nuge can't carry us.
No.
It's too much for him.
Actually, I made a hot take this last week. I said, who's the most important Oiler? One Oiler that can't get injured for us to still win games. Who do you think it is? Who do you feel it is? It's an opinion, so it's no right or wrong answer. Because for me, it's Nuge.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nuge.
Nuge gets injured, we're screwed. More screwed than if McDavid gets injured. And obviously, I don't want not a long-term injury. If I think long-term, it will be McDavid more.
If McDavid gets injured, Draisaitl. If Draisaitl gets injured, McDavid can still carry the team. If Nuge gets injured, we just lose one of our best
two-way players forward. And also still an elite offensive forward too. Elite wrist shot. Line? That's an unreal line. Right. They're produced and you have a fourth liner on that line in Derek Ryan. Nothing against Derek Ryan, but if Derek Ryan goes and plays in the fourth line, that's a better team. Holloway should be coming up, playing on that wing, and it should be Nuge, Holloway, Fogle.
Oof.
Oh my god, dude! Or, you know what would even be better? Nuge, Yamamoto, and Fogle shut down, or Hyman, Nuge, Fogle.
Okay. No, I was gonna say we're gonna talk about the buyers of of the Canadian teams, and we'll obviously talk about the Oilers. But that's an interesting take for Yamamoto going down to the third line, but
because he's more defensive. He's still putting up good offensive numbers, which is good, but he's a penalty killer and he's a checker. And you want the offense ability in the third, because the third line for me, I'm very old school in the sense it's like your third line is your checking line. Like that's the line that you put against the best teams.
And, or like a more defensive line,
Yeah, but truthfully, that could also be we could also have a fourth line that's our defensive line, because our third line needs to be good at faceoffs, and Nuge is not good at faceoffs right now. 36% 2 games ago. I don't know what he was the last game, but I doubt he was above 50. But anyways, I think that's everything for this week. There's like, I mean, it feels like we didn't touch on a lot, but I feel we did, honestly, too.
You know what? I guess you kind of touched on it, but not really. We didn't rant on the refs again. Not as much.
Yeah, we didn't. I mean, I heard that yesterday's game with like the 13 penalties, the refs didn't want to keep their whistle in their pocket. Like, I mean, I guess calling stuff is better than not calling stuff, so I'm not going to complain too much about that, but it's just so inconsistent, man. But
that's true.
Whatever. Anyways, we'll see how the Oilers do tonight. They play against the Minnesota Wild, which I think will be the biggest challenge of the Jay Woodcroft era. They have played themselves. If they win this game, they're second in the Pacific. So they've played themselves into a very good position.
That's crazy. Like they were what? 5th?
They were 5th a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Now we're back in 3rd.
Yeah, thankfully. Like it was. I told you at the beginning. I trust Ken Holland to make the move when he needed to make the move, and he made it. I mean, yeah, we had 5 easier games. But I beg to differ. I think a little earlier it wouldn't have made as much of an effect. Because then it's like the time that they did it, they won 5 games in a row. Like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Like, we're actually starting to get better. Tippett might not get fired. And then there's 2 games because they start trying. And then that's when Holland's like, hey, he's out. It's like, you guys aren't trying hard enough. You guys aren't playing hard enough with Tippett right now. He's stubborn as hell. Like, I feel the time he did it had the biggest possible effect on the players that it could have.
But, like, you've seen how Woodcroft, like, plays his lines. Like, everyone's playing basically almost the same. Like, evenly, as in, like, McDavid and Draisaitl aren't playing, like, 27 minutes.
That's the difference.
Everyone's playing a little less, but everyone's playing. Like, Woodcroft is giving them a chance to learn from their mistakes and play instead of just sitting them on the bench for, like, the rest of the game kind of thing.
But that also being said, though, I would have rather... I'm happy that Woodcroft didn't have to coach against Vegas and Colorado, like Chicago. Like
I guess that would have been really tough, yeah. But
yeah, like you got to start him off against a lesser opponent, and especially you lose those 2 games, and then it's like, okay, he's done. And I don't know. Like looking right now, it looks like a genius move at the perfect timing because it wasn't too late, but he waited until the very last possible second before it became too late. But I think that's why you had to do it. Like you had to give your coach a fighting chance to get out of it, and you had to like it showed the players too. It's like, you know what? Yeah, the coach is at fault, but you guys are just being idiots right now. Like you're not playing hard enough. You're not doing as good enough. So. Like in a nicer way than that, but like, but seriously though, it's like it's on the players too. There's some things that the players could have controlled themselves, like the intensity level. You can have a toddler as your coach. You still need to give 110% every single game, right? And there's times that they just gave up. So, anyways, that'll be everything for this week. Thank you for tuning into the Can-Ass Podcast, episode number 19. Celso will come up with a cool, fun title for it in the description down here. So it was up to me last week, and I have no creativity apparently. So, anyways, thank you very much for listening, and tune in later on this week where we're going to talk about the Canadian buyers in the NHL.